Hey guys, welcome back. It's Lucid, and we've got a new turn for you here. It's turn 57. This should be a twofer. This turn we actually chilled. I mean, kind of. Now we mostly chilled. Cast Raven Feast a little bit, got some death gems. Did some more site searching. But yeah, mostly chilled. We magic phased here with this Melkort on some of his raiders. I actually think, I mean, first of all, he's used these to pretty good effect in raiding because they've basically been immune to skeletons. But they are definitely not immune to Melkorts. I think for this nation, I think these guys are better kind of as special forces in an army, because they have, they're going to be much better when things like Fog Warriors is out, or I think they had shock resistance too, right? So they're going to be better when like Wrathful Skies and stuff is out, or like whatever, the army stuff. I think for like casual raiding, I think the Elite Warriors do better. And also, I mean, you'll take more attrition when you raid, and if they run into skeletons, they'll die. So I don't know. Maybe a mix. I think the answer is probably a mix. 1 second. Sorry, I might be going in and out of this. Having to pause my one of my dogs has been having seizures. He just had like a huge one yesterday, and yeah, my other dog is wanting to play with him, and that is not a good thing right after he's been through his seizure spree. And he's kind of like a walking zombie. It's sad. Anyway, let's finish the turn. So we then attack some indies here because we're playing PvE. This is our white mage coming through, hitting these barbs. And he's got invulnerability, so his protection versus mundane is actually really high. It's 33. He gets knocked a little bit at the beginning. He's got weakened, which doesn't really matter. He got, I think what did he get, a chest wound? Yeah, that's obviously not very good. But being an undead, encumbrance does not matter in melee. So the chest wound's less bad on undead. I believe it will still affect his spellcasting encumbrance, but Mammon came over here and knocked El Shu off of Pinpappy, which is, of course, the cap of Pinpappy that Mammon took without a ton of effort, really. And he's got this guy who, Akoya, or as he has them called, Tasters. But yeah, the Tramplers do pretty good. I mean, these guys, if we look at them, they're going to be taking... 1 second. Yeah, they're going to be taking... Stop that. They're going to be taking, 1 point of damage, because they're evading the... I think it's a 12 defense check. And so they're going to pass that almost always. So they're taking 1 damage every time they would normally get trampled. But it's still 1 damage. And that will kill them after not terribly long. So we can see them all dying now. The Menead's not really helping. And yeah, like that. It's done. It is done. We then had a battle down here where they asked permission to suicide this guy. This one, they actually, I probably should have sent them a message because they don't actually understand this. So he's got mute, which sucks. And what they want to do is they want him to die and to come back as a Twiceborn mage and to get rid of his afflictions. Unfortunately for them, he's immortal, and so that's actually not going to happen. Twiceborn, I don't think will ever proc on immortals. A lot of the immortals are undead, so it wouldn't proc anyway. But yeah, it's not going to proc on this guy. So if we look after combat, well, I forget. If we look after you can see he's alive, and I think he has 1 HP. He might even be stuck at, I don't remember how that, it probably put him back up to 12 or whatever, 8, and he'll die again. I don't think, yeah, I mean, he would show as a white mage here if he got twice borned. But yeah, anyway. It's going to be a little weird, annoying thing for them. Okay, there was a battle in the fortress of Hergendorf. So this is their throne, which we weren't going to take, but Gripazon has been very slow in coming over here. So we've taken that. There's nothing inside. And then this fort, this is the fort that we had basically forked, where we got between their capital and this fort, and so there was no way their army would be able to make it without really attacking onto us that turn. And yeah, there's not much in here. This is also the fort we had tried to corrupt a bunch of druids, and then there was nobody home. We were like, of course there's going to be mages in forts. Nope. We've got apparently a night attack about to go off here. Actually, I don't think that happens this next turn. I need to kind of prepare for that more than likely, because this is a high value province. Yeah, we're going to need to do that. So we had stalled a turn going on top of this fort. Like, these guys basically just patrolled here this turn. And the reason is because I wanted to have Undead Mastery, not this turn when we go on top, but next turn when we storm. And the reason for that is if they move this army to defend, then we'll just steal it, and then things will be good. So that's basically what's happening. This turn we're moving these guys over here. We've got turn 1 Fog Warriors, turn 1 Mass Flight, turn 1 Mass Protection, bunch of other... Actually, I think we're at turn 2 Mass Protection. We've got some Corruptors. We're going to take a shot at trying to get an Ananqui. Getting a Death 4 would be really nice. Just to have it as kind of path access. Because we haven't... With all our Twice-Born Buddha, we haven't gotten a... whatchamacallit? A Death 4 yet. So, anyhow... I'm not sure if there's any particular path access we get from Ananqui that we wouldn't have otherwise that would be significant. Nature Blood we don't really get. Nature Death isn't really a thing. Fire Death we have. Fire Nature is not very good. Fire Blood could be good. Yeah. I think mostly... And also a Blood 4 would be kind of nice to have too. So yeah, a Blood 4 or a Death 4 I think would be the ones we would want if we could steal one. Just to have, you know, it's paths we already have high, but it's a little bit higher. Because we can get right now Death 3 and Blood 3 via Melquarts and Buddha. But we're sneaking some guys over there to do a seduction attempt. In some ways it's a little wasteful. We're also getting this thing firing off now. We've got 3 Summon Shaitan casts because we've got this discount site. And it's not a big discount, but it adds up. So that's a thing. And yeah, basically the feeling now too is we also could cast Galegate. But the feeling is if we want these guys to get engaged in a war before... we basically before we get too busy pissing everybody off with globals. So right now I don't even think we have a global. Yeah, we have no globals, right? So, and we're the gym leader by far. So we could control globals, but we're just trying to mitigate heat. Like, I think these guys are probably like right here. We're probably twice everybody in gym income. So we're going to be able to keep some globals up. The other thing was I had sent these death gems to Ankariarchos, and this next turn, which we're about to pull up, they didn't send them back to me. So I badgered them. Hopefully they put them in the mail. The other thing is Gripazon lets me know this turn that they're ready to come take this throne. And we say, okay, and we move out. So, yeah. We are very close to being able to go for thrones. Like, we just get this throne and this throne and this throne, we win. And this throne's basically ours. It's a little tricky to get in here because of Sea of Ice. And actually... Yeah, I need to think how we're going to get... Because I think the ticket to getting in here is we send in an Air Melkort and our god, and our god spams... We don't have water elementals, but our god can spam earth elementals, which work underwater pretty okay. It'll trample these dudes and stuff. And then our Air Melkort sits up there and tanks. Because we can only magic phase in. The problem is, our god will be able to teleport out, because he has Astral. But... our Air Melkort will not be able to. So I need to make sure I don't send in our Prophet. I need to make sure I send in just like some random dude. I mean, I guess I could do a Shaitan too. And I also don't want to take this because I think taking it will trigger Underwater to teleport on us with Grand Lemurs. I don't want to take it until I can same turn Magic Fort it. So we're going to do that. That's really, there's a lot of reasons for going Blood 8. We've already switched up. I was going to go, Construction 8 has some actually kind of cool stuff for us. But I think Blood 8 is going to be a lot more practicable. So with that, let's go ahead and go to the next turn, which our current turn. And the turn is actually pretty close to rolling. I think it's only like 2 hours away. Mammon hasn't gone, but Mammon's basically toast. Yeah, they actually, so one thing that we're going to go through our events, one thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to pause it. I have a video of a battle that happens this turn between El Shu and Mammon. And they have been, basically, so there's been this army that has been going back and forth between Pinpappy's Cap, which is, I think it was stationed somewhere between these thrones, which they both controlled, or which Mammon controlled. And once the elves attacked, they mobilized it going towards El Shu's cap. But then as we were crushing them in the north, they got cold feet and started maybe pulling it back up this way. And of course the elves were raiding them too, so they could have been pulling it back north to deal with the elves. But we crushed them so quickly, this army wasn't even going to be able to get up here in time. So, because we siege quickly, right? But they've been basically doing this dance with this army, and it was scary. It's like way more sacreds than we've had to fight in a single army. It was, I think, 90 Seir and 60, 70 Chuds. Not very much mage support. Maybe like 10 mages total. But yeah, anyway, they finally fought it, and they won. So it's kind of cool. We'll pull that up in a minute. We also executed a bit of a trap this turn. A trap isn't the right word, but a ploy. We magic phased the Shaitan on top of their cap. And this is a Phoenix Pyre Thug. And he doesn't have a fancy shield, but he's got some protection. And most importantly, he has a Flesh Eater to go berserk. And he has a Bloodthorn to get his fatigue down. And then he has Regen to reduce afflictions. And ideally, this would actually be a fatigue item, not the Burning Pearl. But the Burning Pearl does help him hit more, which will mean, in effect, fatigue reduction. He got off Reinvigoration, too, at the end of his script, which is nice. And I'll show you how this works. I think he got damaged by Repel, so he should be like 1 or 2 points under, maybe not. Yeah, he's not actually taking damage. His life's going up from, he is taking damage from Bloodthorn. And he's taking quite a few 1 damage hits, but Mistform has reduced it to 1. But yeah, we didn't end up having Phoenix Pyre triggered. But it probably would have worked pretty well, unless he lost an arm and lost the Athame, but... Anyway, so we took that, and the significance of that was their cap. So not only do we clear a little bit of income because it's a nice province, but we went on top of this fort this turn, which was adjacent to their cap, and it was a pretty big army we have. And he was patrolling with an anti-Shaitan squad. Got this guy who's presumably going to kill Shaitan. He's also twice-born. Interesting. And it looks like we're not going to be able to hit him. And then eventually I think we pop Glamour or something. Or he's routed too. So he's got a routing bonus. Or, Malice. And then he's got... Oh, did we... I wonder if we took his shield out. It's like, why did we all of a sudden start hitting him? I think it's the slashing damage. Oh, no. Because, yeah, he doesn't get hit at all for a while. And then all of a sudden, the hits start landing. Because he's been routed. I don't know what it is. There's something happening here, because he's not getting hit ever. It could also be its mirror image negating damage. Let's see. Attack roll, mirror image negated damage. Mirror image negated damage. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think he's getting a lot of lucky mirror image rolls. And then once that goes, then all the hits that land are gonna, go through. Now he's got the bleeding affliction, now he's toast. And I don't think it will say where he is, but we can probably tell if he got an extra path. Sorry, we'll watch it one more time. Alright, and he's a white mage, did not get an extra path, has a weakened affliction. It doesn't say where he's from. And it used to say, I think, in the Twiceborn description. I don't think it does anymore. We're not going to watch this whole thing again, but... let me make sure. Yeah, I like with the Mortal, it used to say right here where the home province was. I don't think there's any way to see where they are from now. It used to be a thing. Like, you could also... oh, we can probably tell in morale. Home province bonus. Yeah. Okay. So he twice-borned in this province. And home province gets a reset whenever you twice-born. So, anyway, we know this mage is now inside this fort, which is relevant because we're going to be storming it this turn. We also predicted a bump with Mammon and had some patrollers set out for him. Or not patrollers, just, normal dudes. And it's a nurse, and I believe this is an air chirurgeon. Yeah. And we've got these skeletons on flank. He's got his bats on attack rear. And the bats are busy trying to kill the long dead and the imps. And meanwhile, we're back here trying to kill this silly bat, the big bat. And we're successful and the battle's over. So, nice thing there. And it's kind of hard because, the bats are on attack rear. A lot of times, they're going to... like, the Anonqui's going to escape if the bats die. Like, if he ran into a trap, which he did, a lot of times the bats die, and then, he'll escape. But we managed to get him, so that's good. That was the plan. And we see Vinland attacking the elves. And what's interesting is he doesn't... these are all one gem items for them, because they've got the Master Smith. These are expensive, so these are pretty expensive raiders. And they're moving a force on top of this. and we had moved our stuff out. So, events, sectarian province, okay. We actually have some things we need to do. Wait, let's see where that sectarian thing is, because I don't think I actually... Hobergdorf. Alright, we are patrolling here. We should catch that. Let's change the script of these guys a little bit, though. Let's put them on attack rear. So, yeah. That should catch those dudes. We're also going to get attacked. Was it here? No, it was this one. Some squires have been interrogated. They're going to attack. Okay, so I think here... I think we send this guy here, and he's going to deal with those dudes. He's going to do Mist Form. Fire Shield fucks Knights up. Maybe we do this business again. Okay. Yeah, that should be fine. So we're going to move him here, and hopefully he catches the Knights. I'll give this to... So, yeah. We moved on top of this fort, and we're going to be storming it. We also have our trap set up, because we now have Thom 9. So the idea is if he comes over here and fights us, we're cloud trapezing in our boy, who is going to zap the living shit out of them with Undead Mastery. Because we would like to have a couple hundred more Long Dead. That would be very nice for us. Because we are going to need them, because even though it looks like these guys are throwing the game by them fighting, because if they fight each other, I think it does throw the game for us. Because we scale so well that if we got time to sit here and play in our sandcastle being in position 1, with this particular nation, we would just scale way harder than them. The thing, though, is that so they talked, and so here's what happened. Gripazon was upset that Maryland attacked them, because apparently they said, hey, we need to stop Lucid from throne rushing, which I'm not going to throne rush. I never throne rush, but I do have a ton of thrones. And this one's like in my pocket, so really we're at 5 with 1 more to win at this point. But I told them they could have this one, so that would tick us down to 4. And then this one I'm giving to Satal, or to these other guys, to El Shu. I want to conquer people. I don't really like throne rushing. It's not really my thing. And I think these guys know that, and they don't think I'm going to. But anyway, they were like, hey, we're going to have to sit an army on top of this fort for a couple turns, but we can't do that if y'all are attacking us. Why don't y'all leave us alone so we can get this done? And I think they went back and forth a little bit. And then they decided to make peace and to attack us. So the nap ending message has come from Gripazon. We haven't gotten it yet from the elves. If they don't send it to us in game, I probably will ask them and just make sure they remember they have a nap so they don't stealthily elf us. But I expect they're going to take a turn or two to get their forces repositioned over on our border. And I think what we're going to spend a decent amount of time talking about for the rest of this episode is how we're going to deal with fighting both of them. I've talked to El Shu, and El Shu still has a lot of work to do to finish digesting Mammon. Like, they need to take Pinpappy. They need to take both these thrones. The fish are breaking out. They've got I think a base right here, or one of these provinces right over here. And the fish are jumping out and, this is basically the only area they can expand, so they're probably going to have to deal with the fish. But El Shu is like just doubled in size from doing this war with us. This war against Mammon for them, working kind of under our wing, has been enormously profitable for them. They've hardly taken any losses. We're about to watch the fight. Actually, we'll do that right now. I'm going to pause it. All right, so I've got it pulled up here. I've turned all sounds off because they have the in-game sounds, and the in-game sounds give me music copyright strikes on YouTube, which I don't want. So you got it. You won't hear any of the battle sounds, but this is the army they fought from Mammon. And it's a video, so I'm going to play it. I won't be able to scroll around the battle, but they do a pretty good job panning around and stuff. But yeah, you can see it's a bit of kind of chaff, sacreds, and then like their boars, a few beast bats, some Ananqui, a big freaking pile of Sayir, and then these dudes. And we'll watch. On his side, he's got... It's one thing we didn't really appreciate. He's got these river demons, which are phenomenal early age TNG summons. And then they've got these guys, the fire dudes, which are really nice. They've got a line of crossbowmen. And then they've got a decent amount of their Hellherdings. I think they're back here on the flanks. And then these birds are basically free spawn slaves that they're... You know, we could be getting them too with our Royal Malakwi, but our Royal Malakwi are busy blood sacrificing. But yeah, anyway, basically their Koyas will turn into Royal Malakwi, and then their Royal Malakwi can capture slaves. That's how they're getting these free spawn. Now, when they're coming from a Royal Malakwi turn, you know, you can argue they're not exactly free, but anyway, they don't pay gold for them directly. And look at the Gifts of Heaven spam. I think this is the Koyas, but it could also be the Sahir. I can't remember exactly who's casting it. But there's just a tremendous amount of Gifts of Heaven coming out. And they've got Fog Warriors on their side. And these guys are mostly... You know, they just don't have many of the buffs. I think they might have, like, Mass Protection out or something. But even that, you know, there's Flaming Arrows and this other bullshit. And Gifts of Heaven, none of that's going to matter. Fog Warriors also isn't going to help against Gifts of Heaven. But yeah, Blade Winds. There's just a tremendous amount of artillery. I was talking with El Shu before the battle, and they were saying they think they've got it, but they're worried about mass flight. And they wanted to know if these guys had done mass flight. I went back and looked at my battles with them, and these guys had not really cast mass flight. They had shown that they had Enchantment 7, which is the Research, because they had put up Solar Brilliance, which shows they could have cast mass flight. But for them, it's a little tricky. They have to have a Sabbath, and then they have to get, one of their Ayatses to do it. And the Ayats, depending on the scales, will be passed out. You know, it's a big kahooey to get it to work well for them. And it doesn't happen super early, but he was worried these guys were going to get all over them. But you can see they've just demolished them. They've just demolished them. So... that was the last real army of Sacreds from Mammon. Now Mammon just has a few, maybe like 1,000 Long Dead and Maenads and Boars and a few bats scattered around, but it's entirely all his low-quality chaff. He doesn't have any of his scary stuff, which means he can't really ever take a straight fight anymore. And there we have the battle report at the end. So... if we look at it, yeah, he lost like 20 of his... these are the Hellherdings. He lost like 13 Demons of Heavenly Rivers. He lost some crossbow levies. Yeah. One thing I could do... I know they want water gems. We could maybe trade them water for air. So, we'll look to do that. But anyway, cool battle, and cheers to them. This was... it's funny because... I think Mammon's like effort in turns they put in has gone down a lot from the beginning, as it's become clear they're going to lose. But they were like, yeah, we're not even worried about fighting these guys. And so that must be comforting to them to have now mopped the floor with a very major Mammon army with one of their own. So, very cool. Very cool. We'll go back to the game now. So, but anyway, these guys are going to... El Shu, once they finish conquering Mammon... they got to, like, get temples put up and push their dominion out and then replenish losses. And, you know, I mean, that's after they sieged through all these forts. So, yeah, they probably will end up attacking us, but they're really not going to be ready at a minimum just to get through the forts for like 5 turns, right? And in reality, probably like 7 or 8 if they want to get temples up and a little bit of dominion spread. Like, because they have to get these thrones too. I think it's more like 8 turns when they might attack. I think given that, it might make sense if these guys think that they can conquer them in 8 turns to do that, or vice versa, right? Like if they can have, if one of them can persecute or prosecute an efficient war, and they can be done by 8 turns, it may be better to wait and then to go on us. There's not going to be striking us now. The advantage of doing that is that we scale really hard, and we're going to make a wonderful use of all these new fort turns we have. And we're going to be getting our undead production going more. We're going to get our Shaitan production going more. We're going to scale in that way a lot, right? So that is the reason to attack us now. However, we, this turn, got Thom 9. So this battle station is fully armed and operational. In terms of tech, we are ready to fight now. We are cresting at the moment. And the downside of them fighting us right now is we're going to be as strong as we could be, just about. And they're going to be doing it without El Shu. So I don't think the answer, I think if I were them, I think I would be thinking, if my choice was sitting still or fighting, I would probably choose to fight. However, if I could quickly conquer one of the, if I was either of these players and I believed I could quickly conquer, and I don't know enough, me here in the game now, to say who would win and how quickly. But if one of them thought they could quickly win against the other, I think that would probably make a bit more sense and wait for El Shu to come online. To me, that just makes a little bit more sense. Because I think what will happen is, like, I'll gateway one of these armies over here, like this army, most of it. We'll gateway it over here, and then we're going to go kill one or both of them, and then the game's basically over. Yeah, I think that's basically how that's going to go. Once we kill them. So, but yeah, this turn we're moving in these guys down here to finish off Mammon. We've got 13 dudes, and then here we've got 4, so grand total 17. I think one of them may be diseased, so they may not make it too much longer. But what's important is that, you know, powers of 2, 16 gives you a 4 path boost, so that puts us up to 6. But to cast Undead Mastery, you must actually be 7 properly, right? So we have to do Power of the Spheres first, then we're going to do 2 Undead Masteries. So that's how that goes. But anyway, if he moves this army on top, we're going to be looking mighty pretty, whereas we steal a bunch of shit. So that will be real nice. The downside is we'll reveal we have Thom 9. If they're talking, I don't get the feeling Mammon's talking much. We also have this copper arm, which we have 2 copper arms, actually. We can deploy pretty soon on them. We need Rune Smashers, which we're empowering a Shaitan down here. And he's going to be our Rune Smasher boy. And actually, I probably should have him scripted to retreat in case somehow we get yoinked here. I don't want him dying. He's going to be worth a ton. I mean, honestly, we should find a different Shaitan to empower. I might not have any lying around. I mean, or I could empower this guy. The nice thing about doing Shaitan is it also is going to open up, because they have blood, it'll mean I can get, like, Frost Devils. I don't know if I actually will, though. I don't know if I will. I think we'll stick with it. We'll have the Shaitan do it. You know, these guys would be able to forge items a little bit cheaper. And really just Rune Smashers, I don't think that's worth it. We're not going to make that many of them where it's a big deal. I think it's better to be able to get Frost Devils if I want to. So anyway, we'll stick with this guy empowering, and then he's going to make Rune Smashers, and then that will be part of our kit. The other thing that we need to think about is if he moves an army on top of something that isn't a fort, we now can also astral travel him. And the way that works is it's 25 gems, so it's expensive. But we get to basically take one of these guys who has 20 leadership, which is not much. But we can load them up with 16 dudes, and then probably... I can also give him I probably should make at some point a crown of command. And we can put that on him too, and he'll be able to, you know, carry a few more dudes. Do we have a... We probably should go ahead and make it, just have it lying around. But yeah, that'll give us 50 leadership. So then we can put, I mean, do we have a, if we have a hat, I'll do it now. Yeah, we don't have a hat. It'll take a Malakwi turn somewhere. I don't know if we have a free Malakwi somewhere. We're starting to get them in our cap. Oh, wait. We're not. 850. Okay, here we go. We're going to start getting Malakwi in our cap. We also cast this past turn Transmute Fire. We burnt 69 fire gems. Turn them into gold, because, and you can see we already spent it all. Some of it is doing infrastructure. Like, I actually want to get a fort here so that we can get these bone readers. So we're building we're building a temple and a lab, and we're going to start making them right away. But I want to get this forted as well. We're also starting to fort this. So those are the infrastructure things, but also the money helps us get Malakwi out of our cap. This I just want to protect because it's a... It's, you know, our blood discount site. This one I actually want to ramp up Bone Reader production, because this is going to give us Wailing Winds, which, in conjunction with everything else we're doing, is going to be very, very, very strong. So, I need to see... Oh, we don't have much water to trade, actually, because we empowered. Okay, well, yeah, and this water we're actually probably going to need to make Rune Smashers for a little bit. Hide and wait. This guy probably needs to go somewhere. Do I have... Okay, we don't have anybody going here. We have somebody going here. Okay. Got a bit of unrest here. Anyway. I think the micro is mostly done. The thing I want to talk about, though, is how this matchup's going to go. So if we look at Gripazon, I'll look at them first. They've got Diabolists, who are human mages. We'll be able to kill these probably the same way that we were able to kill all the other stuff from Hue. They've got Huron Priest, which are going to turn into Malakwis. But otherwise, they're very good mages. They're flying, so they're not going to be vulnerable to Earthquake, but we can still get them with Bone Grinding. And they have Scrotty, which, of course, you can't really cheese Scrotty very well. But they can Thug with them, do other things. Scrotty are really good. They're really good. They also have these guys, which allow them to put air and nature into Sabbaths. But basically, if we look at it, it's a Sabbath nation. And the vulnerability of Sabbaths is they're slow. They're very slow. And that means all of his important magic is going to be... It's going to be a lot like Mammon. And that, like, him getting off mass flight, unless he has his god or something, is going to require... the 150 cast time to Sabbath. He's also got Drain Scales, which kind of sucks for us. Oh wait, is this... Whose Dominion is this? It doesn't say. Do we have... We really don't have much of a border with them. Oh no, they've got magic scales. Yeah, okay, they've got magic. So yeah, at least in their Dominion or in our Dominion, they'll be able to do the Sabbaths kind of efficiently. Like, they won't pass out. But it's still a slow casting time. It's still 150. And that means that we'll be able to do Earthquake bullshit and kill all of their mages. They've also got magic weapons on their sacreds. Like, let's take a look at these guys. Before these guys get blessed, they have magic weapons, because golden spears are, by default, magic. But, however, what is not part of their bless is they don't have a magic weapons bless. Because why would you? Because these guys have magic weapons. Their murder kitties are not going to have magic weapons, therefore. Even though their other sacreds will. So, they're going to be very vulnerable to, like, Fog Warriors. Yeah, I think they're going to get wrecked the same way basically everybody else has gotten wrecked. Basically to our mages, right? And they're not going to be able to deal with Fog Warriors very well. And one of the things that Zach pointed out is, yeah, okay, our Royal Malak, we can get magic dueled, but we have now killed all of the Astral Nations. And if we look at Gripazon, the only Astral Mage they have is this guy, who's a 1 in 3 random, and these randoms you do not want to waste on... They're so valuable, right? The Astral randoms, you don't want to waste them on magic dueling. No Astral randoms here, no Astral randoms here. Now, these guys can also do kind of interesting things, like they can do Wailing Winds and Rain of Blood and those things, but none of that's really going to matter much versus our lineup. It's not really going to be a thing. So I think these guys are going to get Raffle stomped by us. It's how it is. It's possible they could outplay us, but it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard. They have things which can't... It's not like they don't have a good lineup. Like, they have things that can be very powerful within this. But they have big vulnerabilities, which we've been exploiting on similar nations. And I think we'll continue to exploit on them. But we'll see how it goes. And it could be they have more resources they can bring to bear, because a lot of our armies aren't near their border. There's other things we can talk about this turn, but it's also possible things go south. We're doing some risky moves. I don't think the Mammon thing is risky, but we're doing some risky moves with Satalis. So we could lose an army and a significant number of mages near Satalis, which would be annoying. But anyway, we'll see. We have the gems to rebuild a lot of stuff very quickly. Like, we can make so many slave matrices, or master matrices. I've also turned back on, or I should have. I've turned back on a lot of the master, or the Brain in a Jar production. So that's good too. Not as much as I thought. Yeah, let's get more brains in a jar. We don't need Churgeons, we need brains in a jar. Yeah, we've got some going on over here. We could honestly do with more. I think we definitely can't afford any more infrastructure. We're going to get this stuff put up. This fort we're not going to upgrade. We may temple it just to have more Dominion pressure. This one we're building a temple. We might upgrade this because getting twice as many Bone Readers is really good for us. Anyhow. But, yeah, okay, so that's this matchup. I think these guys... I think they're going to really struggle. The other thing is we're going to have Blood 8 soon, which means we can do... Life for Life. I think these guys also have Life for Life, so they can cast that against us, and they have Vampire Counts too, which is another thing. And they can do Iron Blizzard and some cool stuff, but... So Life for Life will first kill the Scrotty, if there's any Scrotty. These guys have 12 HP, 9... Okay, so it's not going to target any of the other mages. Oh, it'll target the Rakshasi too. Yeah. Basically, all of their fancy mages are going to get wrecked. It might our Aussies might protect the mage, some of the mages. We can. I think they have like 33 HP. I think it won't protect them over the Scrotty. But it may protect the Rakshasi. I think they're 33. So I think it might protect the Rakshasi from Life for Life. But there's a bunch of things that are going to be real bad news bears for them. That's the other thing too, which is I don't know the path for victory for these guys, given how strong our nation is versus them. But I think they need to out economy us. I think so. By a significant margin. So I don't know. I don't know the right answer. I think they're kind of fucked. I think they're kind of checkmate, to be honest, at this point. Just because I think our nation's so strong against theirs. But we'll see. Let's talk about the other matchup, which is against Vinland. This one I think is a bit more temperamental. And the reason is it's because their entire nation's stealthy, it's going to be hard for us to take a fight on our terms. If ever they don't want to fight, they just sneak away. And that's really annoying, especially when we're trying to catch them with master and slave traps. It means we're going to have to be extra sneaky. And yeah. So basically they have these dudes, and they don't have like a super killy bless. They have an elf bless, which is pretty good. We'll take a look at their bless again. We'll take a look at both blesses again. All right, so their bless is magic weapons, which is good. They don't have a ton of sacreds, though. I don't think they have any spammable sacreds. I forget what their base nation is, but... poison resistance 15. They have condors, which they can spam. And they're stealthy, too. Fire resistance 10. Defense 2. Blood surge 3. Dark vision 50. Affliction resistance. So... murder... Okay, we're going to jump around a little bit. Okay, so these guys are vulnerable also to darkness. Now, these guys, their thugs, have dark vision built in. So they actually jump up to 150. But their normal troops are going to be still take a significant penalty in darkness. But they've got good resistances. They don't have bonus MR, which is significant. So Master and Slave is going to work very well against both of these armies. And I don't believe these guys have any bonus in MR2. And in fact, they don't really have easy Astral. So they've got these Crystal Mages, so they'll be able to do some kind of retail anti-magic. But, yeah, no MR. They're going to get real bad real quick with Master and Slave. So let's talk a little bit about how to do it. I had mentioned, Master and Slave. We load these guys up with 16... some of this too is me thinking through this to make sure we have all the things. We load these guys up with at least 16 brains in a jar. Ideally a Crown of Command and some other troops. The hats, there's not really great hats we can wear, sadly. We give them a copper arm and an Eye of the Void. And that will get them up to... And some of this we have to check, because actually I'm not sure we can do that. Because to do Master and Slave... Well, there's two things we need to be thinking about. One is Astral Travel, which we need to have a base path of Astral 5. Which means we need 3 Astral Boosters, and since we can't wear the... whatchamacallit, the Starshine Skullcap, it actually means we need all 3 default Astral Boosters, which is Crystal Coin, Ring of Sorcery, and Ring of Wizardry, which is super fucking expensive. All right? Super fucking expensive. So, yeah. We cast Astral Travel, and we then bring ourselves and all of our buddies to a big fight, and we turn one master and slave before they can do anti-magic with a bunch of pin. Actually, not with a bunch of pin. Well, with a bunch of pin, because the Ring of Sorcery and the Ring of Wizardry both give pin bonus of 1. So that's pin bonus of 2 now. And we've also got 2 pin coming in from, presumably, we've got something like an Eye of the Void. So that would get us at 4 pin. And versus the kind of things we would be fighting. So Master and Slave, by the way, is a check against 8. Normally. And so normally these guys, like 15 MR, great. Are they getting a bonus? They're getting a drain scale bonus here too. So actually a lot of times, and if they're fighting in my Dominion, it would be 13, which they probably will be. So 13, and so like 13 versus 8, we would only get like 20% of them with Master and Slave, which is nice, but not great. But with 15, or with 4 pin, which is what this kit would be, we would be getting... it would basically be 13, it would be 9 versus 8, so we'd be getting like 40% a cast, 45%, be getting a lot. Basically yoinking most of their army. It's very strong. To cast Master and Slave, though, so that was looking at like the astral travel part. To cast it, you need to be 8, right? So 16 slaves is going to give you a bonus of 4. So 5, which is what we would need to be to cast astral travel, 5, we would technically only need to bring 8 slaves for them to be able to cast. However, if they want to bring a buddy, like if we want to send 2 Royal Malakui, if we had a base path of 4, then the 4 from the group, the 4 bonus from the Brains in a Jar would be enough. Get us up to 8 and we can cast it. So basically, to cast it with 16 slaves, we are going to need to have 2 boosters. There's another way to kind of game some of this, especially if we're not doing astral travel, and that is by having a guy carrying a Light of the Northern Star banner. And if we have that, then that's going to basically cut down on our requirements by 1. So, and that's a pretty big deal. So that would make this, if we have 16 slaves, that would mean a bonus of 4. We have 2 originally, our base, right? So that gets us up to 6. We need 2 more. That means we could actually just do it with a crystal coin, which is cheap, and a banner of the Northern Star, which is cheap. So, there's a lot of ways to do it. We just put a banner of the Northern Star on a Shaitan, have him show up, and he can Fog Warriors the army that the other dudes are bringing in with Astral Travel or something. So, a lot of ways to do it. Astral Travel obviously is going to be the most expensive because we have to get to a base path of 5. It's also reasonable to empower one of these dudes. It'll make them more resistant to Magic Duel, which is nice. And it's cheaper than a Ring of Sorcery. So I think we actually may look to do that. The cost of empowering, I believe, is around 45. Which I'm pretty sure we will do that now. For the guy we want to have astral travel. What's it? Crystal Matrix, yeah. This guy, yeah. 45. Make another Crystal Matrix here. So, what's our astral income? I feel like it's pretty good. 21, yeah. So we'll empower one of these guys. We're probably going to make a Ring of Sorcery. And one guy is going to roll out with a Crystal Coin, Ring of Sorcery. We're going to have to get 16 of these Brains in a Jar too, which it's probably going to involve a gateway from over here. And we're going to have to just start slamming Brains in a Jar because we're going to need a lot. We're going to need a whole lot. Yeah, how many are we making? Yeah, we're damn near max production of Brains in a Jar. Okay, that's not true, as all the things I click on. But I think over here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Making 6 on this front. I mean, it's okay. Next turn, we need to make more. That's all there is to it. We might do another transmute fire and get some more gold as we get ready for this war. But yeah, Gripazons ended their nap with us. The other thing, obviously, we have to worry about with these guys is Dryads. However, we have Shaitan. And if we can manage to push our... I think as soon as they end their nap with us, we're going to start blood sacrificing here. I don't think we've been sacrificing over here. We're going to start blood sacrificing... We have been doing it here because we were trying to push our Dominion over this way. But there's a few forts we've had, not many, but there's some forts on our border. Yeah, basically these two, which we haven't turned on to blood sacrifice. And that might be the little bit we need to push our Dominion over in here. And especially if we get our Dominion in here, it's going to be great because that means we can Shaitan them and take all their Master Smiths. So that will be a glorious opportunity in this war with Vinland, is we may be able to yoink a ton of their Master Smiths. And once we're on top of a fort, they can't really hide them. All they can do is put gems on them and hope that they don't get incinerated, which is what's going to happen. But they could put fire-resistant gear on them or something. I don't know. We'll see what they do. It'll be a game, but it's going to be tricky. But yeah, I think the main thing... I mean, let's finish looking at the Vinland matchup. The final part of the Vinland matchup is we'll do the mage comparison, see what kind of stuff they can cast against us. Why can't... Oh, here they are. So they've got Smiths, which are going to be doing obvious things like, you know, they can potentially do Earthquake, which is not obvious. But they can do Strength of Giants, Legions of Steel, Pillar of Fire, those sort of things. They have Dryads, which are basically just there to seduce and to bless. They've got these guys, which... They do have Spell Singers. I need to check and see if they have... if they can do Communions. Yeah, I just double-checked. They don't have the Man Communion song. So... The problem, though, is that Spell Singer is great because it's going to... basically, I think it takes 50% more time to cast spells, but they take twice the fatigue. I can't remember if that's exactly right. But they have 2 Spell Singers, which, you know, these guys are great. They can do turn 1 Mass Flight, but it's like not really turn 1 because it's slow as hell. So it's going to be... I think both these nations are going to suffer from getting things off quickly. And I'll have to do some calculations with what turn they can get like Mass Flight off. Because I think we can just cheese them and Earthquake their whole army. Like, I think these guys are super vulnerable to it. Well, to turn 1 Earthquake, so we have to do Earth Boots and things on our Buddha. But, I mean, that's something we can totally do. So they're vulnerable to that. I have to think of all the other things. I feel like their mage support, I mean, they've got good air mage. These guys are kind of, I think these are thugs only. They don't have a ton of forts, so I don't think we're going to be seeing these guys as retail mages just spamming out spells. And they're going to have, they're playing Fomoriya too, so they're going to have Dance of the Morrigans, probably. I think their research is pretty good. I think they'll have Dance of the Morrigans and Wailing Winds. I don't think versus our nation with the quantity of troops we're going to have, that's going to be a major deal. Could be. Anyway, it'll be an interesting matchup. We'll see as we go, but I think we have all the tools we need to defend against them. The only thing we're kind of lacking is chaff on this front. We have some here, about 80 units. We have some here, about 100 units. We have some here, about 60. And we have some over here, which I'm going to need to mobilize, actually. I wonder if I actually can do that. Let me find somebody else to put. I want to start mobilizing some of this stuff over to that front. I'm going to get some of these items off here. We'll put this over here. Yeah. So, but yeah, we've got, I think once we move the things in these forts over this way, which will be easy to do, we'll be pretty well set. The other thing to look at, of course, is Buddha. We might need to have, I don't think we'll do it this turn. We're going to have to probably move some Buddha around. But, the risky thing this turn is we're taking this army and we're moving it on top of this fort. And there's a very good chance he busts out with everything. In which case, I think actually you do Phoenix Fire attack rear. Oh wait, no, Incinerate Fire Shield. Oh well, we'll deal with this guy. He's sneaking. Wait, what if I made that guy not sneak? I don't know if he doesn't have a scout here, he won't know what I have present. But basically, we've got a pretty decent size force because we're also bringing some of these dudes over here. So I don't know, it's kind of weak. But we're going to have a bunch of buffs on them. We're going to have Mass Protection, we're going to have Relief up, we're going to have Howl up. We have a bit of Imp Spam, we have Life After Death. Do we have Darkness? Could have sworn I had a Darkness caster. Yeah, Darkness. Don't know about Bone Grinding. But I think he can beat this with what he has inside if he scripts it properly. I don't think he'll beat it without attrition. Like, I think he'll take losses. And this group is kind of beat to hell anyway. But we're on top, we're corrupting. I'm magic phasing in an astral dude so that he can hopefully feeble mind some dudes when he does the inevitable mind hunt on this province. And, you know, if he sends out a portion of his force, then we'll kill it. That's kind of what I'm hoping, is that he divides his army. Or, like, even better, sends the army out without much mage support and we kill it. But if he sends the army out with full mage support, there's a decent chance we lose most of the troops. Hopefully our mages just fly away because we have flight up. But we'll see. If we lose all the gear, we're not all in. It would be painful and annoying, but we can replace all this gear. And I want to get this war... The thing about delaying is I'm going to have stuff in check near this cap while I'm fighting Gripazon. I want to get these guys out of the way before this war with Gripazon and Vinland start. Because even though I think it's a good national matchup, these are both really good players. And so it's going to be tricky. I think these have been great wars so far. Like, the war against Mammon has been great. The war against Satalis has been great. And a lot of thought put in. From Mammon, they've kind of quit putting in effort, as it's been clear they've been losing. But at the beginning, they put a fair amount of effort into the turns, it looked like. So, yeah, I don't want to get too cocky. Even though I think we have like a lot of things going for us, things can go wrong in a hurry. And I want to get these guys out of the way. And so we're going to take some risks here. Storming this fort, though, because we've got them trapped in their capital, I think is pretty risk-free. Pretty risk-free. This guy's probably... the other thing is we've got a ton of disease dudes from this war, which we're trying to get over here to where we have these disease healers popping out. So, like, we've got 2 coming over here. I think we can actually get both of their diseases cured because we're going to have this guy and another guy popping out. And we're using some rings of regeneration, too, to help ferry people over and keep them alive till they get here. Because Shaitan, if we get rid of the disease... Shaitan are still phenomenal units. You know, we can have them blood hunt. We can have them just be mages. Like, this guy, sure, he's got a ton of afflictions. And then also, in Friendly Dominion, once we have our bullshit up, we can just... you still use them to steal people with Corruptor. So... and I guess that's the final thing we'll talk about. We're over an hour. But we're making an Armor of Souls because I want to have access to High Blood. But I think our god is off Raven Feast duty for a while. He's probably going to come over here and take this throne pretty soon. We'll have to figure out which Melkor. Probably this guy will come in with him. And we're going to be able to do that real soon because we're timing it with Blood 8. And Blood 8, by the way, is going to be amazing for dealing with elf raiders who come in with all this fancy gear and are going to be immune to our normal troops. Well, we'll have Blood 7 this coming turn, right? And from there, it's going to be 4,400 minus 400. So it'll be 4,000. That's 3 turns. We'll have to fight 1 turn without life for life, which I think we can manage. I probably have to do some guys on like some leech casters. So we'll see. Maybe I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. I'm pretty sure we can manage it. But it's going to be annoying. Without a doubt, it'll be annoying. But I think we can manage. I need to figure out how far, basically, these guys move forward. Like, I'm thinking their script is like attack, leech. The thing is, blood slaves aren't going to walk. In vanilla, they'll follow you, but to make it work with the retinue, like the blood slave items, they don't do it in this. So the blood slaves won't follow you, but there's a really big radius from which you can pull blood slaves from. And I think attack will still be in range. But basically, we're going to see if we can get 1 turn of holding off with just leech. And then if not, we'll transition into life for life very shortly. So, yeah. And there's a chance. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be fun, though, guys. It's going to be fun. I'm actually kind of glad this happened. They needed to. They were going to throw the game if they didn't attack me. Or if they attacked each other and it was a grindy war, it's game over. If one of them attacked and won decisively and then they all end us with El Shu, I think that's a good play. The only thing bad about that is we could throne rush, but we're not going to throne rush. But we could. Probably. So, yeah. But I think that's a viable play. But I don't know. I feel probably the right move is to attack us. All things net. Maybe. I don't know. It depends. They are definitely on a clock against us. It would be real nice if El Shu could help them. And El Shu just practicably not going to be able to help them for like 8 turns. That's the only bad part about this. But I think it's just a really hard matchup for them, too. I think, and I don't even know if they know it yet, like how hard we counted them. So, it'll be fun. But yeah, we'll have Galegate up. We're going to be getting 20 air, hopefully, from Enkariarchos this turn. And then plus the 28 we're getting, it'll put us over 200. I think that means we can do... I think that means next turn we go ahead and put up Galegate. And then with Galegate up, with Galegate up, we put up... Or maybe we time it. We have to see, because there's a lot of good things. If we put up Galegate and the next turn we put up Dark Skies, it's only 50, which is 1 turn of income with Galegate. We could time it so that they have some stuff in our land. Like, ideally, we time all of that, actually, so that we put it up next turn, we put up Galegate, Dark Skies, and they're going to have, like, a big pile of stuff on top of a fort where we have a ton of Shaitan and we steal their whole force. So, that would be fun. But we'll see. All right, guys. I know it was a long, rambly turn, but it's an exciting one. It's an exciting one, because a lot of things are happening, and some fun wars to come, so stay tuned. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.